there's holes around here, real fine holes that makes a pattern when they spray. That's the sleeve that this injector goes down into the head. I didn't have to replace it. I just got it in case it came out with the injector, but it didn't move a bit, so we're gonna not bother it.
What's this plastic piece?
That's the seal at the top of the injector, so dirt doesn't get down in the
Got it.
in the sleeve of that.
Okay, cool.
And then there's this brass washer here, copper washer. It's still on this one. See that copper?
Yeah. That's interesting.
So there's a clamp that clamps this down and pushes it down into that sleeve and into the top of the head, and this brass washer seals it because you've got compression here. This is in your combustion chamber, right? This part here is in the combustion chamber where your fire is.
Yep, so
it's looking like the way that injector looks anyway, that maybe that's the problem, hopefully. Because it's pretty carboned up. You can tell it hadn't been firing right. Hi, I'm Kevin, and this is Laura, and we're gonna plow ahead. Winter hadn't been real bad, but I'm tired of it. It's time to go away. It's time to have summertime.
it was bad when it was like 17 below.
Yeah, that was a little tough there for a little bit. We took the injector out of this tractor yesterday. It sits right in here. And we pulled it out yesterday, and it looked pretty bad. Didn't look real good. So I'm hoping that's why this tractor's doing the missing and kind of pinging sound that it's doing when it's running. So we got a new injector we're going to put in it today. I just got to take its line off, pull it back out again. Then I want to look down in that hole and make sure that the bottom of the hole is clean, where the brass or copper washer is going to seat in the bottom of there, because that's what holds your compression in. So we're going to do that today. I'm going to take this line off and take it back out, check, make sure everything's clean down in there. Then we're going to set new injector in there with new copper washer and the new top seal, and hook all the lines back up and put some antifreeze coolant back in it and start it up and see if it sounds any better. So like I said, we took this out yesterday. There's a clamp that we took out that holds this injector in, and we'll put that back on when we put it back together. But this return hose, I took it off yesterday. I'm going to take it off again, get it out of the way here. This hose is a return line from the injectors. It isn't supposed to be that hard to get off. There we go. So there's a bunch of these little hoses between each injector. That's the return fuel going back to it returns the fuel the injector doesn't use back to the fuel tank. So that goes between each injector. So you got to take that off before you pull these injectors. Now we've got the line off of it. And so we're gonna take this injector line off. This is a high pressure line, and just kind of move it out of the way. And then we should be able to pull that injector right out. It just comes right out of the hole easy like that. So there's our injector. And so we're going to replace that injector. It's pretty corroded and dirty looking down in there. So I want to get a light and look down in that hole and make sure that we're clean where this brass washer, I think it's a copper washer, seats down in there. We want to make sure that it's clean where that seats down, so it seats down good and tight when we tighten the injector down, because that's what holds the compression in that cylinder. Okay, now I want to look down in this hole and see if I can see where that washer seats and make sure it's clean. It looks relatively clean. We're trying to see down in that hole and see whether we can see where it's going to seat. And there we go. That's a pretty good. Trying to see where we're at here. I don't know if I can see that or not. By the time I get the camera where it might be able to see, I can't see the camera.
Well, I can try it.
It might be showing you something. Okay. It looks pretty clean. There may be a little bit down in there I'm a little worried about, but I'm not real sure how to get that out of there. Try to make sure we don't have any dust down in there. Okay, first we're gonna just drop this little washer down in there. Okay, we got our washer down in the bottom of there. Looks like that went in good. The book says to put this seal in first, the rubber seal, and then push the injector through it. It sets in there just like that. That looks good. And we want to make sure that when we push it in, the return line, the part for the return line on the injector is to the back, because that's where that return line is going to go. Just like that. And we're going to put this bracket on here over that and start the bolt. Then we'll just gradually kind of tighten that down and see. I think it should kind of push it in there. All right. And that's supposed to be torqued to 20 foot-pounds, so I gotta get my torque wrench. I'll put that back on. Put the injector line on. See if we can kind of get it snug down. We're almost there, guys. We're not too far from seeing if this will run. I wished I had a 3/8 drive torque wrench for this, because this is kind of overkill, but we'll see if we can get it here. I don't know if we can get on that without messing. Let's see, maybe just the socket alone will go down in there. It's kind of tight quarters for this big old torque wrench here. But maybe it'll go on there. Let's see. Yeah, it did. Okay, we're at 20 already. So that looks good. All right. Injector line up good and tight. Make sure it's good and tight. Don't want it to be leaking. Okay. And while I'm at it, I'm going to tighten all the rest of these up good and tight, because we had them out. I loosened all these, trying to determine which cylinder was missing or messing up, so I kind of loosened them all. So we're going to tighten them up good so we don't have any leaking going on. I tell you guys, I was breaking paint every time I moved anything up here. This engine has never been touched. It's all original. Seems to be all original. Injectors have never been out of it. None of this has ever been done, so. After 3,800 hours, it's possible that the injector just went bad. I'm hoping that's what's wrong. And we might eventually put all new injectors in it at some point, because that would be probably a good thing to do. Replacing injectors is kind of like changing your spark plugs in your gas engine in your car. It's part of a tune-up, except they last a lot longer than spark plugs. But still, at some point, they do wear and get to the point where, you know, you might need to replace them. So. Well, it needs to go back where it was somehow. I think it's almost there. There we go. All right. They're all in their happy place now. All right. Okay, guys. I think we're going to shut the drains and put the drain plug back in the coolant system. And we're going to put some water in this thing. Just some straight water to start with. Fire it up and see how it runs. I don't know about y'all guys, but I'm really hoping this fixes this thing. If it don't, I guess we'll just run it till it flies apart maybe, and then we'll know what was wrong. That's probably not the best plan, to run it till it flies apart, but when you can't afford to overhaul it just right now, you just do what you can with what you have where you're at.
Right.
That's the thing. Laura's working on organizing me, and that's like one of the biggest jobs in the world. It's very, very hard to do, because I become disorganized just as fast as I get organized. So I think it's better.